Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to download some trait data from the TERRA REF website. And we're going to use an R package that's called traits. This R package was developed by a group called ROpenSci. They do a bunch of really good work with developing R packages. And so the traits package is for downloading several different sets of trait databases, including TERRA REFs. And so I'm not really familiar with the other databases that use the traits package, but we use it for TERRA REF. So the first thing that I'm going to do is read in the traits library. Okay, and so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set some global options for using that traits package. Okay, sorry. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to set some global options so that when we run the functions in the traits package, we don't have to run these options every single time. And we're going to set 3 of those options. So we're going to use this options function. And the first thing we're going to do is specify which URL we want to pull our data from. So I'm just going to type in this URL. Hopefully I'm going slow enough for you guys to follow along. Oops. So basically this URL is referring to NCSA, which is the organization at Illinois that's currently hosting the data for the TERRA REF project. The second option that we want to set is the version of the API that we're using. We're going to use the beta version, which is the most recent version. And then the third thing we want to set is a key, an API key. And so we're going to use a public key right now that anybody can use. And the public key is just the letter 9 40 times. So I'm going to type it out 10 times and then copy it 3 times. And so this, as I mentioned before, this API key is a public API key. If you've signed up as a beta user on the TERRA REF website, you have your own version of an API key, and I'll show you a little bit later how to look that up. And that can give you more access to more of the data and more recent data. So if I run that, that sets those global options, and I don't have to retype that every single time I use the traits functions. And so the functions from the traits package that we're going to use to pull down the trait data is a function called bettydb_query. And so I'm going to get data from season 4 of the TERRA REF project. So I'm going to call my new database that the data will go into season 4. And then I'm going to use this bettydb_query function. And I'm going to specify that I want data from season 4, trait data from season 4, and I only want the first 1,000 observations because it can take a while to pull this data. I'm going to use the site names function to specify I want season 4 data, and I'm going to limit it to the first 1,000 observations. And this will take a minute to run. So just a couple notes about this, the arguments in this function. The tilde, you need the tilde at the beginning of what you put into the site names function, or argument, sorry. And then this is not case sensitive. So you can have a lowercase season or uppercase season, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it looks like that came in. So we're going to go ahead and look at that data in this data frame. So there's a lot of columns in here. Each row is an observation of a trait at a particular time. And so there's a bunch of information here that could be useful. We have site information, the latitude and longitude, the species that the observation was collected on. There's a bunch more columns, date and time information, which we'll use in a bit. And then maybe the most important things are this trait column has the name of the trait that was observed, and then this mean column is the value of that observation for that trait. And I think that's about it. Yep, there's a bunch of columns here that may or may not be of interest, depending on what you're doing.